Hi, my name is Ian Khan, and you're listening to the Innovation Times podcast. I am a technology author, speaker, and an advocate for everything good that technology brings. A part of my work is running the Innovation Times podcast and bringing together people from various aspects of the industry and talk about how technology is affecting the way that they perform their jobs, their functions, and how they're leading their organizations through change that's propelled by technology. As part of my podcast, I interview people from all segments of the industry and different verticals as well. Welcome to Innovation Times. Hi, this is Ian Khan at the ASAE 2017 convention in Toronto. I have with me the Chief Information Officer and the Chief Engagement Officer for ASAE. Reggie Henry is a man who's had a tremendous amount of experience and really is leading the technology side of ASAE. Reggie, welcome to Innovation Times.
It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
I know we have a very short amount of time with you, but I think the message that you can give us with respect to technology and some of the challenges that associations face in terms of growth, in terms of being future ready, and there's so much confusion out there. I feel technology anxiety is at the highest because we don't know what to do with it, and it's keeping people up at night. How do you see this changing the way we make decisions, and what do you see happening in the industry?
So I think we've got like 2 or 3 things that are major stumbling blocks. Okay? One of them is that the current model that we have in place for doing technology in associations has been in place for about 30 or 40 years. So that's one big problem right there. You know, the fact that we have this centralized thing that we call an AMS system, and the model for those haven't changed in the last 15, 20 years. And all around us, people are seeing other examples of technology in their consumer lives that don't look quite like this thing that I have to encounter when I go to my association. You know, if I look down 5 years from now and think about the experience I want our members to have, I can't get there with the technology stack I have right now. I can't get there. And it's because we keep trying to evolve these old technologies and old business models into something that the customer's experiencing a completely different way on the outside. You know, I go to Amazon, for example, and I'll use the example everybody else uses. I go to Amazon, they know me, they know what I want, and when I see what I want, I get it with one click. With one click, I get it. You know, I get on a plane to come here, and I realize I use my watch as my boarding pass. I go to most meetings I register for, and somebody's giving me a pad and a pencil, and I've got to fill out some forms. A little bit of a disconnect there, right? So I think the rethinking that we have to do can't be an evolutionary rethinking. It needs to be a revolutionary rethinking.
Correct.
We need to get back to the basics of what is the relationship we want to have with our members? What kind of relationships are they having in their everyday lives vis-a-vis technology, other places, and start from there and to rebuild the association technology stack.
Absolutely, and you know, I talk about something very similar, and it's the fact that disruption is a very commonly used word. You know, everything is being disrupted with big data, whether it's artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. There's way too much disruption than we can handle.
Right.
I think we need to move to a transformation. We need to realize that there's a pathway to reach that technology outcome that we desire. And we need to start planning that not today, but yesterday. Now, with respect to associations, do you see that, and I'm sure between the large and the small associations, the technology stack is different, their needs are different. Where is the CIO of an average association struggling? Is it adoption to cloud? Is it digitizing? Is it document management?
So first of all, the average CIO probably doesn't, average association probably doesn't have a CIO. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem, first of all, because I think every association needs to have a CIO either in-house or somebody external acting as their CIO, because you need strategy. You know, what the CIO, if they're doing their job right, brings is an interpretation of the organization's business strategy to what the technology needs should be.
Correct.
Okay? And people at a director level don't do that well. They're not connected enough across the organization to do that well. Okay? Unfortunately, that falls to some organizations' boards to try to do that. You know what that ends up being. You know what that ends up being. So that's the first issue. The second issue is, even among some larger associations, they don't have a strategy. They don't have a strategy. And I don't mean just a technology strategy. They don't have a business strategy that talks about how technology fulfills some of their needs. So I think they've got to start with that business strategy. Okay. What are the major imperatives this organization is facing right now, and what are the major things they need to do to counteract those things they're facing? And then what technologies help them do that? So that thinking from business to need to strategy is the thing that most associations struggle with.
I think the outcomes that we all desire from technology is, of course, to be more profitable, to be more efficient, and to be able to do the best we can. The challenge, as you mentioned, is that if you have some core pieces missing, you have the CIO missing completely. So your technology there's a wide gap there that needs to be filled. The strategy doesn't get filled, and the execution is left halfway. So it's no surprise that many organizations are failing with respect to technology enablement, and there's that general anxiety with the average CEO of an association that, oh my God, which fire should we put out? So 2 points to take away. Look at getting a CIO within your association, and also prepare a complete strategy that can be executed. Now, I have seen that a majority of organizations generally, not just associations, they fail because of lack of execution. They've got their ducks in a row, they've got these huge strategies, these plans that they've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars building with countless number of meetings. They've got the, maybe the infrastructure in place, but there's that execution piece that's failing. Nobody's executing. What's your take on execution?
Yeah, so I think we're in a unique time. So I think a couple of things. One is, I see associations who start off with these 5-year plans, and they execute well the first year, and then they get to the second year and realize, holy crap, these last 3 years of these plans no longer applicable. Okay, and so they start to fall off the plan one side or the other. So I think the first thing is, don't make a 5-year plan. It can't be relevant anymore. Okay, it can't be. And if you start trying to execute in year 2 and you know it's the wrong plan, you're not going to execute well. The second thing is, stop thinking that you have to do everything. Put together your plan, figure out which are the most critical things in your plan, figure out which you need to do versus what you might be able to hire somebody else to do. A lot of associations don't have good executors on staff. Okay, doesn't mean that doesn't need to get done. Hire somebody to execute that plan for you if you can't, and you manage the execution of the plan rather than just the execution of the plan. I think the big takeaway is we can't have excuses anymore, because what people are experiencing in their day-to-day life through consumer technologies is flawless execution. And so we have to at least have good execution, even if it's not flawless. I pick up my phone and I want to go somewhere, I pull up the Uber app, it tells me where the car is, the car's on time, I get in it and I get there. It's that. I've got an app on my phone that tells me what groceries I need to buy because I've been scanning in and scanning out on my refrigerator as I'm getting food. And it works flawlessly. I go to Google and I look up something and I get results. That happens flawlessly. These day-to-day things that I do. So, an association telling somebody, well, I'm sorry your invoice was late because my computer didn't do what it needed to do. Is crap. It can't work. So I think, having the right expectations, realizing that you don't have to do everything, you have to see to it that it gets done, and realizing if you don't have people on your staff that you need to execute this strategy, you're still responsible for executing that strategy. Get somebody from the outside.
Very well said. And it really adds on to doing what you do best, and instead of wasting your time on elements where you can't impact it, just focus on the best thing that you do, focus on building engagement as an association, since we're at ASAE, and leave the rest to the experts. Hire people and work with external parties if needed. Last but not least, let me ask you about two quick things. First of all, what kind of best practices would you suggest? Would you suggest that associations and CTOs and CIOs look at specific best practices, whether it's project management, it's agile, it's lean, what would be the top ones that you would suggest they look into?
Right. So keep in mind that most associations aren't developing software. We've got a few of the large associations who develop their own software. So most associations aren't doing that. So these large conversations we have about agile development versus lean development may not be applicable to most associations. That's what I mean. What is applicable to all associations is developing a technology strategy that takes your organization into the future. So if you had the ability to hire one person, I'd hire a technology strategist, somebody who can look at the business of the association and translate that into what technologies we need to execute the business. Your word execution is a good word, because that's what this is about. How do I execute this strategy for the betterment of my business objectives, whatever they may be? And your business objectives might be making money sometime, it might be getting more members sometime, it might be advocacy on the Hill sometime, whatever it happens to be. Hire somebody to execute that strategy. I think that's a major deal.
Excellent. Last question.
Yep.
What are some of the technologies that associations should look into? Is it, the Internet of Things? Is it artificial intelligence? What do you think the future, where the future is?
So I think it's all of the above. I think what's really important right now, and probably more important than it ever has been, is that every association, either through its association that it belongs to or its own devices, have somebody that they can turn to figure out which of the emerging technologies can really affect their business, either negatively or positively, but it's going to affect their business. Okay? And so I look at something like the Internet of Things. And what we've done in the past couple of years, for example, is have beacons in booths around the trade show floor, and that gave us a real-time snapshot of where traffic was. That's an Internet of Things kind of application that has real day-to-day application for us right now.
Absolutely.
And gives us information that we really need right now. I'm getting ready to work with our vendor right now to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to have an automated dialogue with our members to help them along their journey with us. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to think about that 3 or 4 years ago, and if I were to hire the people that were required to do that vis-a-vis every member, I couldn't scale that. I can scale that automation through artificial intelligence though. So there's things that if we stop thinking about how the public talks about artificial intelligence and get somebody knowledgeable enough to think about, what does that mean to my association business? I think we can make some strides. But I think all of those things are important.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Reggie, for your insights into the industry. I think everybody can learn a little bit more by connecting with you, going to the ASAE website, and getting in touch with Reggie if you need any help with getting your association technology stack up and running. Reggie's very passionate about sharing his expertise. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day, folks. Thanks, Reggie.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
If you're confused about the current state of technology and the impact that it has on the world, then you are at the right place. My name is Ian Khan. I'm an author and a technology speaker who focuses on the value created in the current world. I talk about ideas, thoughts, and value creation in general that helps us propel ourselves into a future that's driven by technology. The Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, cloud are all means to create value. Technology in general is an enabler for positive business outcomes. If you're confused about the outcomes that technology can create for you, then you're at the right place. For more information, you can always visit me on my website at www.iankhan.com or follow me on social media, on Twitter at IanKhanLive. Let's change the future by creating a value, nothing else. Let's just change the future by creating more value. That's what I stand for, and that's my message.
Just when you fall